Hey everyone, it's Marianne from the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. I want to talk briefly about compromise and negotiation. You've often heard the unions say that they're not going to negotiate their contracts publicly, that they're going to do that confidentially between them and the city. And there's a reason for that. Usually when you enter into negotiations or conversations with the other party, that those are supposed to be kept confidential. You actually agree to that confidentiality. Some unions like DC 37 and the United Federation of Teachers actually require the people participating in bargaining to sign NDAs, known as non-disclosure agreements. Now, in a negotiation, there's a give and take. Usually both parties have to give something to get something. When you're a union, you might give up a little bit of something, maybe put in some more hours to get a raise. When you're a retiree, there is nothing for you to gain. You as a retiree have left the job. There is nothing for you to earn. All you are trying to do at this point is hold on to what you have earned already, what you have paid for. So when you sit down to negotiate with someone, you have to respect the fact that there is a give and take. But when there isn't a give and take, there's nothing for you to gain, then all you have to do, you recognize in a retiree situation, is all you have is something to lose. So what did the retirees have to lose? Our health care, because it's been trying to have been stolen from us now for the last 2.5 years. And why was that? It was because there was a fund that funded the active worker and under 65 retiree healthcare plan premiums that had been misused by both the unions and the mayors. And what did they try to do? Take healthcare away from retired persons to finance their healthcare. Hard stop right there. That is a fund that funded the premium difference between the benchmark plan, the HIP HMO, and the most popular plan, the GHI CBP plan, for every active worker and under 65 retiree. That includes union members, that includes union leaders, that includes the mayor, that includes city council people. So everyone there was okay, obviously, with a deal to steal healthcare from retired workers and use the value of that health plan to finance them, right? Asking for 250,000 friends. So what was the compromise? The city said that you, the retiree organization, they told our attorneys, listen, we want to talk with you. We want to have a conversation about a settlement. And I was like, what are you, crazy? Why would we settle for something we've already paid for? The attorney said, well, let's just go listen. So the lawyers went to go listen to the city of New York. What they wanted to do wasn't a compromise. It was basically suicide. They wanted to force every retiree into a healthcare plan that many of our doctors and hospitals don't take. That's not a compromise. And then they wanted to compel retirees to agree to vesting for healthcare, even though most of us vested after 5 years of service. They wanted us to agree to changing that vesting to 20. So that in year 2, if you chose to get out of that Medicare Advantage plan and wanted to go back into your supplemental senior care plan to stay in traditional Medicare, the city would no longer subsidize that healthcare plan for you if you had less than 20 years of service. And they were making no accommodation for anyone who had to leave service because of disability. There was a whole bunch of other issues to this, but that is not a compromise. And to sit in a progressive caucus meeting and have Councilman Ressler insist that we are not negotiating in good faith when these confidential conversations between the city's lawyers and our lawyers were breached multiple times by Michael Mulgrew and Henry Garrido. That is not a confidential, good faith negotiation. And it is also not a negotiation in good faith or a conversation in good faith to force someone to take a healthcare plan that their doctors and hospitals don't take, especially in this day of their life, when they are older, when they are infirm or on disability. That is not a compromise. That would be tantamount to me basically saying to you, well, I'm so glad you paid off your house and all those years of you paying your mortgage, thank you for paying it off. But by the way, because we misused our money, the bank, we will have to now start to charge you for a mortgage once again. Shame on us, but too bad, tough noogies. You're going to have to pay up for something you already paid for and bought. And then be ridiculed in public that they're not going to support legislation that we had drafted because we are in negotiations with the city. Councilman Abreu, Because part of that problem is, if you just recognize why the MLC did this, Henry and Michael purposely leaked confidential information to destroy the credibility of our organization, the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees, mine as its leader, and the legislation Intro 1099, so that the council doesn't act on it, and left us hanging. And what happened yesterday? The mayor now appealed yet another loss, his 7th, and filed an appeal on the class action certification of our copay case, which was also breach of contract. So we are now in court on 3 appeals cases because the mayor and the municipal labor committee are hell-bent on stealing from retirees to keep the active workers and the city council and the mayor from paying a premium because they misused a fund. That's not protection. That's not a compromise. That's not a settlement. That's not a negotiation. This organization had been open to speaking with the city. They came to us. We didn't go to them. So the city council has an obligation. Stop listening to Henry Garrido and Michael Mulgrew. If you're going to be accusing us of not doing something, then you should know exactly what it was that we were being offered, which wasn't a settlement and wasn't a compromise. And it was definitely not a good faith negotiation in any stretch of the means. That at every step of the way, confidential information that was being shared between 2 lawyers made it into your purview. Our organization denounces that. And we denounce the city council not supporting protection of traditional Medicare or New York City retirees' earned and paid for benefits. Because if you're successful in stealing from us, you're successful in stealing from your own future and financing your healthcare right now, where the city council makes almost $150,000 a year, and many of us don't make anywhere near that. So, to the city council people, we're urging you, pass 1099 or sign the discharge petition to get it to a hearing so democracy doesn't die in darkness. It is important that facts come out. And understand something. When someone is forcing you to harm yourself, that is not a compromise or a settlement any retired worker should be taking. And this organization will never renege on a promise that was made to our retired workers. And you should be holding up your end of the bargain. Thank you.